That's fine. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Beat Break Morning Show. I am your host, Sean Garvey. I hope you are having a lovely Saturday morning. Make sure to follow us on all social media at Beat Break Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. You know, we had to take another hiatus from the airwaves because we are doing some very, very big things. We got a special guest coming up in just a few moments right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. Just a couple of things first. Make sure you download that Podcast FM app if you haven't already. Go ahead and download it now. It is available everywhere where you get your apps from, Podcast FM app. And also check us out live, listen live on reach1network.tv. We are broadcasting live on 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM in Louisville, Kentucky. So you can check us out there, reach1network.tv, and on your TuneIn app, just search for Beat Break 87 FM. That's 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. And always 24/7 online on my website page, SeanGarveyOnline.com. That's SeanGarveyOnline.com. So you have no excuse to not check out shows like this, the Beat Break Morning Show. And got a very important announcement to make real quick before we go any further. So starting this week, this Monday to be exact, starting this Monday, we are changing things up in the morning. You know, we want to be more newsworthy. And what I mean by we, I'm talking about the great folks here at the Beat Break Morning Show, because of everything that's going on in our current state and what have you. We want to not only want to entertain, but we also want to educate as well. And we've been doing that for a while now. So starting this Monday will be an extension of the Beat Break Morning News. So we will go on for more than just 1 hour. Yes, got to give a hand clap there. Me and Michelle Dawes Birt and a few of our national and international news reporters will give you the latest updates on news locally, whether it's here in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, across the country, and worldwide. So we are going for more than an hour, more than likely 4 hours, I should say, between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're still working out a couple of things before Monday, but yes, you will get an extension starting this Monday of Beat Break Morning News with myself, Sean Garvey, and Michelle Dawes Birt. Shout out to Michelle Dawes Birt for holding the Beat Break Morning News down for a couple of months. So that is starting this Monday on 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. Now, as far as the Beat Break Morning Show, you will get an opportunity to catch more new episodes of the Beat Break Morning Show just on Saturday mornings at our regular time, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday mornings. Same station, 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. So that's a lot of information. A lot of information right there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This is the Beat Break Morning Show and the Beat Break Weekends, Saturday mornings with your boy, Sean Garvey. Class of 09, ladies and gentlemen, is the new miniseries, a drama miniseries to be exact. That is on FX and Hulu. Class of 09. Got some familiar faces in the series. Is a drama series, and it premiered its first season this past Wednesday, May 10th. That is the premiere date for the show, Class of 09. And here to talk more about it is one of the people behind the show. You know, I've been knowing this brother since 2011, and it's 2023, man. And I love the progression that this brother has done over the years. You know, I've been introduced to him by a few colleagues of mine in broadcasting. Started out as an artist and seeing him grow from not only just becoming an artist, but an entrepreneur and now a part of the amazing team behind class of '09. So y'all give it up for Slam Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show. Good to see you again, my brother. How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful. I'm excellent. How you doing, Sean?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm loving the view. You know, you outside. We won't let the people know where you at, but thank you so much for just coming on the Beat Break Morning Show after all this time, man. It's been years. And, you know, I've seen you from afar, you know, on social media. Thank goodness for social media, of course, because I would have not known what you've been up to, especially with this project right here that we're about to get into, man. So it's just been a blessing to run into you recently when we were panelists for an event that our good brother Reggie Love Kason invited us to. It was a panel of all four of us, including myself and you, as we were talking to the great students over at the Atlanta Technical College in Atlanta about entrepreneurship, man. Great times, great times, brother.
Shout out to Reggie, man. Shout out to Reggie Kason, wonderful brother in the community. If you don't know him, you need to learn about him.
Yes, man. You know, and the great thing about Reggie is that he knows how to connect and recruit great talent and put them in places that they need to be in to flourish and to get to the next level, man. But I want to start off with you. I remember way back, and I keep reiterating that we brought you on the Beat Break Morning Show at a time, right? At a time where we were still developing and, you know, we were new. This is way before, and I can't believe I'm sharing this story, Slam, but this is way before the emergence of podcasts, right? Like it was still
way before,
man. I mean, we were one of the originators.
Ahead of the game.
We were
definitely ahead of the game,
Sean. We were ahead of the game, but the beauty of it, Slam, was that we were on terrestrial radio. We were on terrestrial radio, a 1,000 watt station, 860 AM in Atlanta. We brought in some amazing people on our show, man, and one of them was you. But let's take it beyond that, before that, man. Talk to us before Slam. Like, what was the guy like before the TV guy, the music guy? Who was Slam before?
So yeah, man. Just kind of got into this game, you know, using what I knew, which was at the time music. Like a lot of our young talents know and familiar with is how to put words together and make them sound dope. And that was something I could do when I used it to my advantage. And I enjoyed it, you know, and I had some success with it. You know, this was some years ago, and MySpace was a thing at that point in time, just like before the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, you know, just like before the podcast, you know, MySpace was a thing, and I had some nice success on the MySpace platform, which elevated me to do bigger and better things with my music career by going on tour, even eventually signing to a label, getting a band, which is one thing that really made my movement unique at that time. And we're talking 2010, independent artists showing up to showcases with a full band, all of our own equipment, sound equipment, band equipment, the whole nine. We come in, set up, do our show, do our set, we unplug and get out of there, and people just would be struck because it was something new, something different. They haven't seen it before. And being able to be a mastermind behind my career, I always knew that there was more. When I got into music, it was more so as a way to work my way through an injury, right? I had injured my wrist playing basketball, and I was rehabbing. And I just started writing music in the meantime to kind of just keep myself motivated. And I wrote motivational bars, motivational music. And so my background in college was communications. So I was able to take what I learned in school and apply it to my music career to help me continue to elevate in that arena.
Right.
So I was always at the top of the umbrella of my, my craft. And one of the things I knew I needed was music videos. At the time, I didn't have money for music videos, right? So I saved up money to buy a camera and I started shooting my own music videos. I learned how to edit myself. So I started editing my own music videos. And as people started to see the videos, they would ask me, hey, who did your videos? And when I would tell them, me, 9 times out of 10, the person that was asking me was another music artist. They'd be like, hey man, how much it cost you to do mine? And it went from, I don't know, I do it for free to, all right, we could do it for 100 to, all right, now, I've done, several of them now. So now, okay, we starting at 500 now, right? And then the client started getting bigger. It started turning into, okay, what do you charge to do a commercial, right? And so me transitioning from a music artist that was having success into a new arena, which was video production, and being a creative and using my creativity in that capacity was a natural transition because I was still in the element of creating, right? And I knew it was something more that I wanted with my career, as music just kind of happened. One thing led to the next with music. And once I started doing videos for other people, I really seen how things could develop into something much bigger than me just being another rap artist. It's a million rap artists in the game, right? But there always has to be producers, directors, and that just interested me more. And when I had my first opportunity to come in and write, direct, and produce for a stage production, that's really when I cemented myself into the idea of, all right, so me saying, okay, I'm gonna come do this show, or me coming to hop on somebody's song as a feature artist, those days were dead, right? I made the mental decision to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm done with that, and I'm moving on to this. And that was a rough transition because I had gained so much steam with my career as a music artist, and I kept getting pulled back to the music side, right? And so I realized what I had to do and what I needed to do at the time was, something I learned in school. Sometimes you have to rebrand, right? It's a hard thing to do, but when done correctly, it will give you exactly what you need to move forward. And that's when my whole career rebranded into where I'm at now, which is a video producer, director. And man, it's been a blessing. Like Sean, like the opportunities that I have now is well beyond me just going on and hopping on the stage and spitting some bars, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And of course, as music artists, we have a lot of influence, and we can definitely have, effect on people's lives as a music artist. But taking my concepts and moving from writing rap bars into writing scripts, there's such a much larger audience in so many ways to make change in a community through storytelling and not just music bars. And so I'm just really stoked with the blessings that I had, with all the opportunities I've had over the years. I've been at this since 2012 now, and still looking back. No looking back.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Slam Williams outlining how he is in the position right now. And I got to tell you a story, man, since your name, Slam Williams, stand alone. Because when we talk about music videos and video directing, your name alone, Slam Williams, it reminds me of Hype Williams. And let me tell you the story. And I don't believe I shared this story with anybody else, but this is probably my first time. Well, no, actually, this is my second time sharing this story. So before, well, online at least, and on the airwaves, but before I got into radio, I wanted to be a music video director. So I went to a school, right? I went to college, and I actually went there, American Intercontinental University. That's where I went and got my bachelor's degree in media production. But I went there to study various forms of media, including video. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go there was because I wanted to be a music video director, like Hype Williams, like the Hype Williams, the Paul Hunters of the world, right? And I was just so fascinated by a lot of Hype Williams videos that I grew up watching on TV back in the day. And this was in the 90s. So all of my Gen Zers, all of my young folks or people that don't know the history of Hype Williams. Hype Williams, I mean, he started out in the early 90s. He started out in the early 90s. Yeah, he was doing graffiti up there in New York, Queens. Shout outs to all my New Yorkers. And from there, he went from making music videos to directing his first actual movie, which to many of us is a cult classic called Belly with Nas and DMX. But if you are unfamiliar with this work, of course, he is the director behind many music videos such as Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, Kanye West. The name goes on and on and on. So many big names in the music industry, Jay-Z, so many of them. And when I saw your name, Slam Williams, and knowing your resume and by you talking to us as your journey of being a music video director, I asked myself, and this is a question for you, like, could Slam Williams be the new Hype Williams today that Hype Williams was to us in the 90s into the 2000s? So my question to you, like, do you vision yourself to be the next Hype Williams, or is that too much pressure there?
Spielberg, bro. TP, Tyler Perry, like the ideas and concepts and the ambition and passion that I have for where I want to go. This is the lane that I was born to be in, and I have every intention on fulfilling my purpose. And then when you tie that into the collective that I have around me, through all my team members, my business partners, the sky is the limit for us. We're moving into a new generation of filmmakers, and I'm excited, where this thing is going. Like, Sean, I'm telling you, like, big things are coming, doors are opening left and right. I'm just so glad that I wasn't afraid to make that transition of leaving that music career behind, because it was going well, as an artist, especially back then when, social media wasn't a platform that was really propelling a lot of artists, things going viral like they are now. It was tough. It was tough as an artist, and I was having a lot of success. And so, to take that and come to a halt and to move over to this side, a lot of people still ask me, like, yo, you need to get back into music, man. When are you going to drop some new songs? But please believe, I'm getting my 50 on when it's time for my series and my movies to start dropping. Like, trust me, like, I'm going to be there on the soundtrack. I'm going to be there with fingerprints all over the projects, But yeah, Hype Williams definitely was a motivation in the 90s. The Hughes brothers, all the brothers that we've had that have paved the way, Spike Lee, to where we are right now. I just want to be able to be a part of this future generation of taking that torch and making it even bigger and more accessible for other future filmmakers to get involved at the mainstream level, at the industry level, to where they're having Hollywood production, television, network productions, and not just YouTube shorts or even Tubi series or even things like that. But I want us to have more of representation when it comes to Hollywood as well as the networks.
Right, man. I hear you on that. And I know people like Hype is in a class of his own, because he's always been known for music videos. But when you mentioned Spielberg and those names after that, you're right. People like yourself, and even with me, stepping outside of radio and doing other projects, I like for us to really represent and to help represent people of color, people of our diaspora, be a better representation of us. We over the past history, throughout history and decades, we went from having this decade of genres of movies to this other decade of genre of movies, and now we're a little bit more diverse than ever before as far as filmmaking is concerned. But I think we're in a very, very great time, Slam, to really give audiences what they've been waiting for and wanting to see for maybe perhaps, and I'm just throwing a number out there, over 40, 50 years, something that they have never, ever seen in cinema history. For example, a great example of that, Slam, is Black Panther. We did not know. I'm 39. I've been on this planet 39 years. I would have never imagined that there would be a movie like Black Panther to be on the big screen and do so well. And both Black Panther and Wakanda Forever to do so well at the box office, kicking down doors and making this amount of money, not only nationally, but internationally. Do you think movies like Black Panther really helped you as a director, as a visionary? Do you think it really helped you say, you know what, I got so many ideas, I'm ready to put it out there?
So, funny story. When I seen Black Panther, of course, just like everybody else, was just blown away by the Blackness, right? By the cast, the message. We all walked away from that like Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Such an inspiration to see a movie like that and to know that it was made, right? So fast forward years later to the start of the production for Class of '09. On Class of '09, I served as an executive assistant to producer named Zan Devine, as well as executive assistant and director's assistant to a man named Joe Robert Cole. Now, Joe Robert Cole happens to be the main writer for Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. And having the opportunity to work with that brother, right? Never would have guessed, that I would have had the opportunity to work directly on the right-hand side of this brother. But I learned so much from this man. And he is another person that is a part of this future of filmmaking and future of storytelling. And you could feel the essence of what Black Panther is on screen in the soul of who Joe Robert Cole is, right? He's just a wonderful person, a great man, a brother. And I just want to say this, he has a movie on Netflix right now, All Night in the Day. It's a Netflix original. Anybody who's listening, please go and check that out. Let's make that go viral. I don't know if we need to make a post, but that's his movie. It's based off true events. Has a wonderful cast. It's a very strong movie. And it's something that we all need to support and see, but all day and a night. And it's on Netflix right now. Go look it up, and it's written, directed by Joe Robert Cole, who's also the writer of Black Panther.
Great recommendation. Great recommendation.
Yeah.
If you have a Netflix subscription, man, definitely check it out. Platforms like Netflix got some great content along with some great writers behind the scenes. So if it's recommended by the one and only Slam Williams, then definitely go check it out on Netflix. Slam Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show. Sean Garvey, we're talking about movies, music, Slam's life and the career, and so much more. We're going to get into the conversation of Class of '09, available. It actually premiered this past Wednesday on Hulu FX. And just to rewind the cassette tape back a little bit, because we talked briefly earlier in the program about how me and you connected. You went under a different moniker before Slam Williams, and it was Got Knox. And into this very day, Knox, that song that we played on the radio, Now or Not Me, that still plays in my head because it was a catchy tune. It was a catchy song. It wasn't one of these bubblegum songs that a lot of people are used to hearing. It was a song that was catchy, but it had a message in that song. It had a message to that. But for those that may not be aware, like where did the concept of that song, what was the concept of that song and how did that come about?
Wow. So okay, so Nom That Me, that was my biggest song. It opened a lot of doors for me. My last single too. It I was signed to a label and we were working on, we had just finished our group project and we were starting to work on solo projects. And it was just one of those things, you know, I heard the beat and I've always been about being authentic. And that's just what came forth when it came to the bars, as just bars of being real, being true to yourself. And my guy Joe Ray, he came through and laced the hook, you know, popping bottles, but you're borrowing them. Now, not me, you know, saying all these things like this is what people is doing, but I'm cool, not me. And it's still relevant to this day. You know, I could re-release that and it could still, you know, do it because it was a very, very engaging, fun song, you know. The beat was done by Gutter Hits, you know, industry producer. He's worked with a lot. He's dropped a lot of records over the year. He's had a lot of success with his career. So shout out to him and Joe Ray for being a part of that vision and that song and helping it become what it is today. There's a lot of people who still bring up that Nom That Me as, like you said, it was fun. You know, it was fun. You know, it was dope. It had swag, it had bars. But you know, just the overall essence was just being authentic in your own skin and not trying to fit into somebody else's norm and just sticking with your own norm.
Mm-hmm. Great concept, man. Like I said, the song, it was just so catchy. I was like, man, we got to put it in heavy rotation, you know.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful. Forever grateful. Forever grateful.
Yeah, man. Slam Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show. Now let's go back. Let's fast forward from Now Not Me to class of 09. I've seen the promo and I can't wait to watch the entire season. But let's go ahead
it's gonna be hard.
Oh man, listen. I've seen the promo. I read the premise of the series, and I was like, you know what? This is my cup of tea right here. I love comedy. I love romance, comedy films, and even crime, suspense thrillers. But this one right here, boy, woo! I got to check it out for myself. I got to see about this one. So let's play a clip, Slam, of the Hulu FX original series, Class of 09. We're just going to play a little teaser real quick, and we're going to talk more about it. So here's a teaser clip of Class of 09. All right, so Class of 09 is a suspense thriller limited series, follows a class of FBI agents set in 3 points in time who grapple with immense changes as the U.S. criminal justice system is altered by AI, keyword, AI, artificial intelligence, and spanning multiple decades and told across interweaving timelines and so much more. The series also examines the nature of justice, humanity, and the choices people make that ultimately define their lives and legacy. And it stars a great cast, A-list celebrities. There's one particular actor that definitely stands out from the cast, and I love his performance in all his previous projects, including Atlanta. Slam Williams, who is one of the major key players behind the series FX's Class of 09. So let's talk about it. Slam Williams right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. Class of 09. It premiered this past Wednesday on FX and on Hulu. What is your involvement in the series?
So I played two roles. I was an executive assistant to Zan Devine as well as Joe Robert Cole. And when Joe JR, we call him JR, he also directed an episode. And so as he served as a director, I was a director's assistant.
Dope, dope. And those two roles right there help make the series what it is today. The episode, the pilot episode to Class of '09, man. How did it all come about? I wanted to ask you that, Slim, because when I seen you on social media, we follow each other, and you put it out there, and you said that you was just so, and I'm just paraphrasing your words, you was just blessed and thankful to be a part of this team and letting people know to check it out and all that,
And to finish it.
And to finish it. You know how many projects are currently on shelves right now that's been, been put out there, been promoted, but don't see the light of day. But this one has. So how did that all count? How did that all come about?
Well, Tom Rob Smith is the writer. He is the writer and showrunner of the show. And he had this vision, and FX and Disney said, hey, let's go ahead, let's make it happen. And, we started on production on this 2021, the fall of 2021. And so, AI wasn't really being talked about then. So, kudos and shout out to Tom Rob Smith, because he was ahead of the game at that time, well ahead of the game. And if you remember anything from 2021, COVID.
Yeah.
Right. And so we shot through the midst of a pandemic, and it was a huge difficulty with COVID protocols, as well as, outbreaks, people catching COVID, key players catching COVID, and having to rearrange the schedule. That was one of the biggest challenges with this show. The 3 timelines is definitely something to deal with, because we have the characters. Many times when you see different timelines in movies, the past is going to be played by a different person, and then the future is also going to be played by a different person, or one or the other is going to be done through prosthetic makeup. But our characters played the past, present, and the future, which created its own scheduling dilemmas, because it takes hours to get this prosthetic makeup on. So shout out to our special effects makeup team, and it's the overall team that was a part of this, because we all know how difficult this project was, how many changes had to be made on the fly in the moment to get this completed. Special shout out to all of my executive assistant team. We were always the ones that was in the middle of everything, the middle of all the communication, making sure things stayed on track and that things were moving accordingly. And I think that with the concept of artificial intelligence was so profound that this show is going to be so timely now. And I'm not sure if Tom has some type of idea that it's going to be around the time when this is going to be released, when AI becomes a thing. But there's so many different elements within the story that's important. That's not just about artificial intelligence. The stories and journeys of each of these main characters, of what they go through, and I don't want to give away, too much of the sauce of the story, but you're gonna see breakthroughs as a people through each of the characters. Teo Michaels, played by Brian Tyree Henry, BTH, his character as a Black man goes through many things as his journey in the FBI. And the same thing with Ashley Poet, who is played by Kate Morrow, goes through things that communities face with her character. So there's a lot of things to pay attention to. There's a lot of things that's happening outside of just artificial intelligence, but what's been happening as you see different communities have breakthroughs in the world, and especially here in the United States, as we move forward into the future. A lot of those breakthroughs are being embodied through these characters.
let's stay on that for one moment, Slam. Artificial intelligence. When I seen the trailer and I read the premise of the show, it reminded me of Minority Report. And with this talk, you know what I mean? And with this ongoing conversation on artificial intelligence, it's both scary but interesting at the same time, right? Because you know, I've been in conversations offline with people about the effect that AI is going to make to so many people, not just only here in America, but globally, and how much of a game changer this is going to be, especially for people in the film industry, TV industry, and etc. But for a show like Class of '09 to drop in the midst of the beginning stages, well, I don't want to say beginning stages, but pretty much in the space where artificial intelligence is at, it's like, yo, this is going to be something else. And I'm glad that you, Slam Williams, you one of the people to be behind this, because Class of '09, I think, is the show that's going to open up more artificial intelligent based shows that we're going to see more of on television.
It's definitely going to start to help the conversation on, if we don't have a tight grip on AI, what it could look like, right? It's definitely going to have an impact on that conversation, which people are already talking about, the fears of, what does AI look like 5 to 10 years from now, 20 years from now, right? If it's already this advanced. And I do encourage people, whoever's listening, learn AI, because it's going to be a time where it's going to be people who know how to manipulate and utilize AI are going to be the people that are getting hired. So it's going to come down to that. That is going to be a necessary skill set in many positions moving forward down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that, man. Slam Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show. We're talking on Class of '09 and AI and so much more. And I mentioned just a few moments ago that watching the trailer and reading the premise of it is somewhat like Minority Report. And if you haven't seen Minority Report, which is years and years old, a movie that came out with Tom Cruise years ago, then you kind of behind,
Yeah, you got to check that out. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is. And to fast forward to Class of '09 and to not only see the teaser and the promo video, but to also see my homeboy BTH, like you just mentioned, Brian Tyree Henry, seeing him from his breakout role in Atlanta as Paperboy to now.
Man. Shout out to BTH, man. Shout out to Brian. Like, he has come through and he has crushed every role that he's been in.
Yeah.
And he crushed this one. Like, I just can't wait for people to really see the fullness of how this story develops. It is a developing story. It unravels, it twists, it turns. And man, he killed it. Like, bro, Brian came in, and the role he has is a challenge because what he's representing in his role. Yeah. And you'll get to see what I mean when I say what he represents. And just to, without giving things away, the story starts when these characters meet in FBI training. And this is years ago, right? And if you look back, into the 90s, if you look back into then, things will look a lot different complexity-wise than they do now in the FBI, right?
Right.
So his journey in this and what he had to embody, he did a very impressive job on just bringing the words out of the script to life, for sure.
Yeah, his range has expanded, because, in this television industry, especially if you do seasons on one show, and you are well known as that role in that season or on that show, and it becomes iconic. You could be pigeonholed. You could only be marginalized to just being that one particular character in that series. And I'm glad for an actor like Brian Tyree Henry to take his role from what we all know and love as Paperboy on the show Atlanta and transition from that role to something more challenging on a different show that's totally different from his previous show or even his previous projects that he's been on. Because don't get it twisted, folks, he's been on plenty of TV shows, other TV shows and film, but Class of '09 is just a show that's going to really take Brian over the top to so much more roles that are coming his way.
Not even just Brian, but the other characters that had roles in this. And I mean, the story is just a very complex story, and the characters of the whole cast. Shout out to the whole cast because they were all there, ready to dig in and go with the to roll with the punches that we face as a production crew, and just make this to be the best that it could be. Brian Smith plays a wonderful role. He also plays in The Matrix, right? He came in and he killed his role. Rosalind Elazar, she did a phenomenal job in her role. She was faced with a lot of emotions in her role, right?
A few other people as well.
Just all the whole cast, man. Just got to give a shout out to the whole cast. Yeah. And even Jake McDormand, and the other thing about this cast is they were all so friendly, so humble, and they were all there for the project. They weren't there for self-gratification. They weren't there to make a name for themselves. They were all there to make this project happen and to complete it. And that was, that was an honor to be a part of because it was like a real team effort. There was no I. There was no this is about me. It was always about us. And, anybody that worked on that project, with all the twists and turns and the turmoil that we had to go through to make it happen, we became a family. And everybody, we were just, it took so long. Most shows don't take as long to complete as we did with this show. Like I said, because of COVID, because we had to shut down several times. It was a location heavy project. So we were on new locations daily, sometimes 5 days a week at different locations. And production wise, that brings in a lot of difficulties. And speaking of, locations, you got to give a shout out to the whole locations department. That whole department was always on edge because they had to make so many adjustments, so many changes. Just shout out to them because they really did their thing. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to complete this project.
Yeah, man. Big shout outs to them. It takes a team effort to make something magical because you can't think about yourself, and you hit it right on the nails, Sam. You can't think about yourself. You got to think about the people that's going to be watching the content. The people that's going to be watching the content and how this is going to be perceived. What they say, you're only going to get one shot, right?
You're only going to get one shot. You're only going to get one shot. And, for us as a crew, we took this shot to make this project, to bring it to life. And, we didn't back down. We stuck with it. And we made it happen.
Indeed, man. Well, since we only have you for a few minutes, and I know you got to go, Slim Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show, Sean Garvey, man, having an amazing conversation on the Class of '09 FX and on Hulu. Another challenge, you mentioned COVID, which was a challenge within itself. Now we are embarking on another challenge, which is the writer's strike. I call it the writer's strike
Mhm.
part 2. And you know, we seen the writer's strike and how it impacted both the TV and film industry years ago,
Mhm.
which lasted for 100 days. And so how much of this ongoing writer's strike is going to impact the show itself?
So because the script and everything is locked in, it's done with post production. Class of '09 is going to roll out. However, the project that I started after Class of '09, which is a show on Amazon Prime, Them Season 2. First season is out on Amazon right now. So if you haven't seen Them, THEM, definitely go check that out. It's written by Little Marvin. And he has a wonderful story, a wonderful concept, and a story that needs to be told. It's a hard watch because it's real, the reality of it. But it's something that we need to make sure that we don't forget, right? And we just finished shooting the second season in December, right? It's in post production now, and the strike possibly could affect the release date of this, considering it's in post production right now. I'm not sure how, but with Class of '09, it's it's rolling on out. So it beat the breaks of this writer strike, and the writer strike is something that needs to happen. With streaming becoming more and more of a necessity for the networks and the way things are moving into the future, uh, these writers they need to get paid accordingly, right? There's a lot of people who make a lot of money off of these shows, and it just needs to be fair, right? Without these writers, there are no shows. It starts with the writers. It starts with their brain, and if they're asking for more money, me personally, I think the networks and the studios need to come up with a plan to meet them wherever they need to be met at. Right? I know a few
Yeah.
writers that are actively, petitioning for this, and the industry is coming together. Not even just the writers, but the crews. Without the writers, there's no use for the crews. And so, the crews from all your different departments, your grips, your gaffers, your locations department, your assistant directors department, all these, makeup, wardrobe, all these departments, all stuff coming together to say, hey, let's make this fair. And the demand for work is so much higher because the demand for new projects is higher. You can't expect the pay scale to continue to be the same when there's such more of a demand for turnaround and for new projects and new concepts. And then every time you do get to a table where you have, your writer's draft of a script, it has to go through different phases of that writer's draft. It might go through
Right.
15 different phases. And then it goes into the production draft, which then once you get to the production draft, then it might go through another 15 paces. And each
Mhm.
episode, if it's a series, each episode could have, an unlimited amount of revisions that these writers have to do. And if they're just paid once, but they have to continually work, how long before, writers get burnt out, which they have. The writers are, starting to get burnt out because the new streaming platforms that are popping up, the more need to refresh and renew on Netflix, on Hulu, on all these different streaming platforms. I mean, if they want more material, I mean, they're gonna have to pay the writers. That's just that.
Yeah. Yeah. And was also too was so interesting is that um people are still coming up with ways to push out and to deliver content, even in the midst of the writer's strike. And I come across so many emails from different entities looking for voice
Mhm.
actors, looking for writers, and all this other stuff, right? And when it comes to the writers, and this is just my personal opinion, writers can at times be very, very underrepresented in the industry. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, we give credit to the actors, we give credit to the directors and the producers a lot,
Mhm.
but the
Mhm.
writers, they don't get the same type of highlight or the recognition as the actors and the producers and the directors, because the writers are what makes the show as well too. So we gotta do better at giving the writers credit, because they, like the shows, some of your favorite shows that you watch on TV, or you know, you go to the movie theaters and you watch that particular film and you laugh at a joke or a line or two that really stood out to you, that made you think, that made you want to cry and stuff like that. That came from a writer who is speaking from their own personal experience or from something that they researched on or something that came across them in life or what have you. So, there's this rule, there's this saying, and I know you're familiar with the saying, Slam, that you write what you know, right? And
What
that's
you
what
know.
many writers like myself are doing. We're writing what we know. So big ups to the writers, man, for putting in the hours, the labor, the time into making the craft what it is and giving us great content. But before we let you go, yeah, go ahead. It's on you,
And I
Slam.
want to say this, man, big up for the writers for having the courage to really get out here and put the pens and pencils and the keyboards down.
Yeah,
They're really out there, on the front line saying, hey, come on now, ante up, like, be real. They telling these studios like, hey, we're here, but make it fair, make it make
right.
sense. And I'm excited about that because anytime there's a development within a community, right, within this community of writers, seeing the industry really come together and everybody be on one page is something that I feel like we just as a people can learn from.
Indeed. I'm in agreement with you there, my brother. Slam Williams on the Beat Break Morning Show. And also, too, I got to give out my shameless plug. I've been plugging Class of '09 all this morning during the first hour of the Beat Break Morning Show. But I got to give my own shameless plug of Unemployment Check, which I was one of the writers behind. So you all make sure y'all check out Unemployment Check as well, too. Our pilot episode, the entire season, ladies and gentlemen, is underway, but it's a podcast. So you can check it out online on YouTube and on Spotify. A really, really great podcast show. Pilot episode is called Coronation, by the way, too. So it's a comedy series, nowhere near Class of '09. So after you watch, and I recommend this, watch Class of '09 on FX and on Hulu first. So that way you can, dive into the crime drama series and what have you and get into your serious mode. And after you watch that show, then go online and listen to Unemployment Check because you're going to need some laughter in your life after watching Class of '09. You saw how I spin that? Get
Right.
serious first and get serious first and then get your laugh on. After you watch Class of '09. So check out Unemployment Check, pilot episode Coronation on YouTube and on Spotify. Slam Williams, ladies and gentlemen. What's next for you, Slam? We was talking offline previously about some other stuff you're working on outside of Class of '09. So let the people know what else you got coming up or what you're getting ready to do.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we just finished shooting Them season 2, which is on Amazon, which will be on Amazon Prime. The first season is out now, so definitely go check that out. Written by another brother, Little Marvin, wonderful person, tremendous writer, tremendous talent. He's got a great group of producers and writers that's right there with him. Shout out to them. Shout out to my man Tony, Mary, Prinz. Shout out to that whole crew. It has definitely been a pleasure working on this project. It is. It's gonna be strong. The first season was based in the '60s. This season is based in the '90s, and it's starring Luke James, Deborah. I can't say Deborah. I don't want to butcher her last name, but she was the star of season 1. Also, the star of Riches, that's out on Amazon Prime now.
Okay.
But definitely keep an eye out for that, as well as there's an artist out of LA that I'm working with. We're building a strong concept. The artist's name is Spitfire, and we have a strong I can't go too deep into detail on the project, but it evolves well past music. There's a lot of visuals involved with the project that we're working on. So I've been going back and forth between LA and working on that project. And I'm excited about both of those two things. And then next on top of those things, I have been diligently working on my own script, and I'm looking forward to, taking that on to the next level.
Indeed, man. Wow. I'm just so proud and happy of the progression that you have made over the years, Slam. And I know you're going to do a lot more in this TV film industry. It's a lot of us now than ever before in the industry. It's not just only the Tyler Perrys of the world. It's not just only the Ava DuVernays of the world and the Ryan Cooglers of the world, but it's the Slam Williams now. It's the Sean Garveys, and more are coming out and putting themselves out there to represent what filmmaking and what television and content should look like, and what it can be for many of us in the community, from the diaspora. And I'm just appreciative that you one of the many people, man, to represent people of color in a very unique and positive likeness, man. So big ups to Slam Williams for everything that you do. Yes, sir.
I want to say, not to cut you off, but I want to say this too, because I think it's important to say, because as much progress that we've made behind the scenes, our community is still heavily underrepresented. And if anybody's interested in getting involved with film, take a class, get involved, learn what it is to be a production assistant, to be a PA, learn the different departments, get involved. We need more people to be involved on these sets. We need more specialists. There's a lot of specialists. There's somebody right now that's in cosmetology school. We need more stylists. There's somebody right now that's in this learning, about anything that you can, any type of skill that you can acquire, it can be used on a film set. And so we need more people bringing those skill sets to these specialties on set. And it's so much easier now, especially here in Georgia. They have so many programs. All you have to do is hop on Google and start to search, and you'll find a very resourceful class or resourceful a place that you can go and be and network. And that's 90% of this industry. If you can network with someone and tell them, hey, you want to be involved, 9 times out of 10, they can give you, the insight on where to go, what to do. But my suggestion to listeners right now is just Google, hey, what film classes are there in Georgia? And you're going to pop up with some classes, and that's a great start. Or even be an extra. You're going to say you be an extra, and then you can network from there. And I personally have seen people go from being an extra to becoming a production assistant, to then go on to being a grip, and then go on to being a special effects person, right? Several different departments on film sets, and we are heavily underrepresented on the film sets. Even here in Georgia, you would think like, okay, but no, we still, man, we need more representation of us for us to be out here creating and making these films.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right about that. And I'm glad you said that. When I was an extra on many different sets, television and film, it was a lot of us in front of the scenes, but it wasn't too many of us behind the scenes. And I was like, and in my mind, I said the same thing that you just said to our listeners. There needs to be more representation behind the scenes. And, even in Georgia, like, come on, y'all.
Even in Georgia.
City of Atlanta, hundreds of films and television shows, commercials, you name it, are done here in Georgia every single day. It doesn't make sense that it's not too many of us behind the scenes to help create the content. So you're right. You're 100% right, Slam. Please go out there. There's information, there's resources online that you can go to learn more on how you can be, like you said, a production assistant, how to, even hold a boom mic, be a boom mic operator behind the scenes, like anything.
Sound
just
operator, wardrobe. People that are in the fashion, get involved with the wardrobe department. People who are into working with their hands. That's the grip. You got people who build stages, woodworks, stage design, people who are into graphic design. There's so many different departments, so many different specialties. And like I said, the opportunity is out here because one thing is for sure, this content is not going to stop.
Right. We can't just depend on artificial intelligence to do the work. You know what I'm saying? So we got to continue to get out there, push ourselves out there, man, to be a part of the movie making and TV making process. And I can also say that too, because like I said, I was an extra on several mini sets, man. I see what goes on behind the scenes. So I'm definitely with you on that. Well, Slam.
Hands down, one of the best ways to get onto a movie set and to get onto a crew is by becoming an extra. You network from there, you can get you a job in the industry without a shadow of doubt. That is the best, the easiest way. And the route is going through become an extra. When you become an extra, find out who the first or second AD is, tell them you're interested in being a production assistant. And before you know it, you do that a few times, you will get a call and say, hey, are you available to come work as a production assistant? And from there, the grind's on you. These crews are built by who's available, who's trustworthy, who people can count on. And if you're willing to go onto a set and work hard, you will get called. You'll get called back. And before you know it, you'll continue to elevate as I did. And to you working in those producers' room and you're working with the producers, you're working side by side with the directors. And I'm giving the game right now. So anybody who's interested, I'm telling you right now, that is one of the easiest paths to become a part of a crew on a major industry production. Become an extra, network, and then once you network and you get the call, bust your ass, bust your tail, work hard. When they see that, you have work as long as you want it.
Yep, see that? Dropping jewels right there, man. Free game, by the way. You ain't got to pay a dime. That's free game. Well, Slam, man, I really appreciate you for coming on the morning show this morning, man, and dropping jewels and letting people know about Class of 09 on FX and on Hulu, man. And, anybody want to follow you or hit you up, how can they reach you?
Director Slam on Instagram.
Director Slam on Instagram. That's that. Director Slam.
That's that.
Instagram.
Let's do it. Let's do it again when them season 2 get ready to drop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Slam Williams, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much on the Beat Break. Thank you for coming on the Beat Break Morning Show. Much success, man. And definitely will be tuning in to Class of 09 on FX and on Hulu Wednesdays. All right. Slam, it's been a great, man. I appreciate it, homie.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. We got more of the Beat Break weekends coming up in just a few moments. You know what? I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm going on Instagram and talk to people in just a few moments after this station ID and after our commercial break, man, because I got something to say to the people. All right. It's the Beat Break Morning Show. Sean Garvey right here on 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. And don't forget to check us out on Roku TV on the Flow Television Network. It's the Beat Break Morning Show. Y'all keep it locked.